He's a storyteller and a nerd culture expert. You probably know him from 28 Days Haunted, Paranormal Caught on Camera, Night America, and Talking Strange podcast. He's Aaron Sagers, and he's my guest on Survivor Angels, coming up next.
It's time for Survivor Angels, an approach to strengthen trauma survivors. Here, you can escape what draws negativity and engage your positive abilities and the gifts that you've always had. Let's activate your angels. And to help you on that journey, here's Chaplain Jodi.
Strange, weird, weird, strange. Aaron Sagers is in the house on Survivor Angels. We're actually at the Tahoe House in Virginia City, Nevada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we're finally doing this. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while, but here we are.
Yep.
In a great location, Tahoe House, in a great city, Virginia City.
Right.
So finally worked out in a good spot.
Yep, it's all about timing.
Yes it is.
So we're going to talk strange and weird and
Okay.
whatever else might come up.
You point me in the direction and I'll get weird. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's start with that. What is weird to you? How would you describe that?
So the word weird, it's, I know it's kind of taken on some different meanings as of late, but really I embrace the word weird as, being the origin of it is one, a weirdo is someone that's in control of their own destiny. I think it's, you think about the Weird sisters from Macbeth, and they were prognosticators and fortune tellers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So weird, I think, is someone that embraces who they are, embraces the weird world, like all things strange and unusual, but without feeling like an outcast about themselves. So, yeah, weird is good.
It is good. How does it differ from strange?
Strange, I guess they kind of all exist in the same neighborhood. Strange and unusual are things that I would think of as sort of outside of the, quote-unquote norm. So nothing against any normies out there, but I would not say that I am a normie. I'm a person that is interested in the beyond the norm, the paranormal even. So, yeah.
Okay. Why do you think people are just a little, I'm trying to find the right word, and we kind of talked about this last night. They're a little hesitant when something is billed as weird or strange. What's sort of that underlying paranoia maybe? I almost said paranormal, which maybe that fits.
I kind of think, well, look, as of the last few months, the word weird has been wrapped up in political conversations.
Right.
So, and I think we're going to move away from that and get back to sort of the fun weird and weirdos. And I think that for some people, they might use the word weird in a pejorative way as, you're really weird. Whereas those of us that do consider ourselves weird, we love it, we embrace it. So as far as the hesitation, I think maybe it's some people that they're probably a little bit scared, honestly, of the things that are outside of their normal everyday routine. So it's easy to dismiss it and call it weird, But I think that's also changing. I think that people are fascinated with the more, the beyond the pale kind of things. I think there's more and more people that are fascinated with the weird.
Well, and I just think of your show, Caught on Camera. And more and more people, as far as I can see, are tuning into that because it's that's the safe place to sort of start looking at some of those unknowns.
Yeah.
Would you say that's?
Yeah, Paranormal Caught on Camera has been, obviously I've been involved with many productions throughout the years.
Right.
And Paranormal Caught on Camera, I absolutely love that show because it's a show that I think it's easily accessible. I think you don't have to, be a ghost hunter or someone that's even particularly interested in ghost hunting or paranormal investigations to watch that show and enjoy it. It's accessible for anyone.
Right.
And you've got aliens, there's stories about aliens, cryptids, the other kind of weird stuff out there, legends, folklore, and of course ghosty stuff. But you pop it on and it's just easy enough to watch. I think that lends itself to the popularity of the show. The other thing that kind of makes the show popular is the fact that if you watch one segment and you maybe don't care for it, just wait till the commercial break, and then there's going to be a whole other segment. So
Right.
you have like 6 of those in one episode, and it covers, like, runs a gamut of different types of topics. But yeah, so I do think that the overall interest in just the high strangeness has contributed to the popularity of that show, because we do cover it all.
So as one of the people that evaluates the evidence that's presented, how much input do all of you have as far as what actually gets on the show? Because you've been around this business a while.
So the way the clips kind of emerge is we have a great team of producers, we have researchers, and they will scour the internet looking for clips. But, and also news stories. There was one recently about a supposed Bigfoot that was captured. It was in Colorado, and somebody captured this footage from a train, and then that made a lot of news. That was mainstream news, and then we licensed that and brought it on the show.
Okay.
So that's one way, is like people are people scouring the internet, but also looking at news stories. The other way that we get the stories is people submit them to us directly, like we mentioned an email address at the end of every show.
Right.
Or because I'm out and about interacting with a lot of supporters and fans of the paranormal, and I do a lot of Comic-Cons and Paracons, people submit the clips to me directly, or my cohorts like Brian Cano, or the other folks that do a lot of events.
Right.
As far as what makes it on air, we can offer suggestions to the producers, and they typically listen to us. If we're bringing a
Nice.
clip to them, they'll probably use it because they're like, okay, these guys already like this. Now, there's times when they won't use a clip because we say we don't like this, or everyone kind of disagrees on the clip, or maybe there's some problems with the facts behind the case, and they won't use the clip because they don't want to look bad. So
Right, there's that.
and that happens a lot too. They do try to fact check some things, and as much as they can. But you do tiptoe up to the line where it actually gets to the quote unquote paranormal nature of it, and you don't entirely know what's going on with that phenomena, or even maybe I always say anything can be faked.
Right.
You sometimes just don't know. So if we can say, like, that's the use of a photo app or whatever, that put a ghost in the video, they'll typically not use that clip. So they do listen to us. They listen to us for input.
Okay. I'm not a big tech person. How hard or easy is it for someone to do that?
See, I am not a tech expert. I'm good with the history, I'm good with folklore, that kind of thing. I mean, anything can be faked, though. Now, what I do say also with that is anything can be faked, but also try to have an open mind about things. Because I've had experiences that if someone else saw it on a show, they might say, well, that's too good to be true. But I know that I've had experiences that really were that good, but also true. So I do try to encourage people to have an open mind about things. Just because you think it looks too good to be true doesn't mean it is. It might be that good and true.
Right. And that's why it takes all of us to look at all of these different things. How much of a skeptic would you say you are?
Skepticism is not a bad word,
No, it's
in my
not.
opinion. I am a skeptic, and I utilize skepticism, but I am also open-minded. I am not a cynic.
Right.
I am not, and I'm also, even if I've had an experience that I think is paranormal or out of the ordinary or unexplained, that doesn't mean all of those experiences are unexplained. So you might have an incredible, encounter with a potential ghost at the Tahoe House here in Virginia City, but that doesn't make everywhere haunted,
True.
So I try to do case-by-case analysis of things. But yeah, I utilize skepticism, but I'm also open-minded, and have had experiences that I can't explain that I do think is out of the ordinary. But I always just encourage people, like, there's a good middle ground. Like, if you believe everything is paranormal, I don't think that's helpful. If you are so close-minded and you're cynical, I don't think that's helpful. If you look at that as two ends of a spectrum of potential belief, and you move in the middle ground of open-minded, utilizing skepticism, but reaching a point where it's like, well, I can't explain that, so maybe that was something else entirely.
Right. And a lot of people, they bring in their religious backgrounds, their faith backgrounds, because that's how they were raised.
Right.
And that does get ingrained in us.
Sure.
What would you say to people who have that in them and are going, well, no, my faith-based system says that can't be possible?
That's okay.
Okay.
My mission within the paranormal, within all the projects I've done, it's not to convince people to believe or not believe.
Right.
I don't really even find it's not my job. That'd be very arrogant if I was going to tell you, believe this because I'm telling you to believe it. I wouldn't do that. And everybody's kind of on their own journey.
True.
And I would also say, for people that do believe in the paranormal and believe in ghosts and all of that, like, that's okay too. And if they believe that they've had an experience that is paranormal, that's okay if that becomes part of their belief. Where it gets tricky is if you're now saying, look at this photo or this video and this is proof of the paranormal and the whole world should believe. When you start trying to convince other people to believe or not believe, I think that's where you get into a problematic zone.
And I've heard you speak here in Virginia City, I think it was last fall, and you have sort of a different, I'm not sure perspective is the right word, maybe it is, but you approach all of this with heart, is what I want to say. Where does that come from? Why do you feel that way?
Well, I mean, I absolutely love doing this stuff. I'm very, very fortunate and grateful that this has become part of a job and that I get to travel all around and talk to amazing people and listen to stories. And the story part of it is, I'm always excited about that. To roll into any location, even if it's not supposedly a haunted location, but to roll into any location and keep my ears open, there's always going to be some sort of crazy story that emerges. I love that. As far as the heart of it is, so I was raised with religious beliefs, and I was raised Catholic, and I'm not really super observant anymore, but I would say my journeys through this world, talking about strange phenomena, exploring it, experiencing it, has fed me in a way that is almost spiritual. It has opened my eyes up to like the larger possibility of things out there, and it really makes me think. It makes me think about the universe.
True.
And my place in it. So in some ways, even though I wouldn't say the paranormal is definitely not a religious philosophy for me, but being open-minded and having those experiences has fed me almost on a spiritual level. Does that make sense?
It does. I totally understand that. I would say that that's very similar to my journey. Not exactly, but very similar to it.
And kind of the other element with that is I don't have the answers. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
But in just that alone makes me all the more excited and feeds me in a philosophical way, because some of my problems with like some organized religion is it is very rule based, it is dogma, and that's okay if that works for some people, but almost the lack of rules, we're all working with theories and ideas and whatnot, but the lack of rules and just the wide open potential of everything, that is more exciting to me.
So you mentioned a few minutes ago about where Aaron Sagers is. Where is Aaron Sagers?
Virginia City. Very, very the Tahoe House.
Somehow I knew you were going to
with
say
a beer.
There you go.
As far as like where I am on my mission, on my journey, or what? I don't know. It sounds very. I hope it does not sound pretentious, but having bounced around, like my entire career has been in media.
Yes.
Journalist, news media, and then like nerd media, and then also paranormal stuff. And I've loved that. I'm been very lucky to, like, I often joke that I want to time travel back to like 10-year-old version of me that has comic books and was watching Twilight Zone and is into ghost stories and reading about Hans Holzer, and then tell 10-year-old me, like, hey, all of this stuff, like, keep doing it, keep enjoying it, because that's going to be your life. And then 10-year-old self would be terrified, like, why is this strange old man in my bedroom talking to me, saying that he is me? And then the whole timeline would collapse. It's bad news. So I won't do that. But the longer I do this, the more I've been fortunate to do this, I do hope that there's been some wisdom and maturity that has come along with it. And where I'm at right now is I want to continue telling those stories and continue to explore the world, but I also want to expand on the kinds of stories that we are telling. I want to break out of certain molds that I sometimes think we fall into within paranormal media. And I really think that our exploration of all of this stuff can really bring us together.
Absolutely.
And in a world that feels increasingly divided and divisive, I think if we can talk about these stories, it can bring us together. And I think that's incredibly valuable, and I would like to be part of that. So I would say that that's kind of where my mission is right now.
I like that. I like it a lot.
And just creating more, but also welcoming more people into it, like opening the door to bring more people and more types of people into all of this. That's very important to me.
Yes. So last question. And I think this is where people get stuck, is they've got their stories, but they don't know how to safely tell their stories without getting, going back to our beginning piece, the weirdo label slapped on them. How would you advise people to go about to start telling their stories and opening up so that they fall into this incredible community that's very accepting and is waiting for them?
Well, I think it's not just a one-way process. It's the people that are listening to the stories and inviting the stories. You have to be open and welcoming with it and make people feel like they're comfortable, and they should be comfortable to share those things.
Right.
And it's also, storytelling and experiences, it's a form of currency. I give you this, you give me that, we exchange, goods and services, we're exchanging stories. And so what I try to do is, I'm okay being the weirdo out the gate. Like, I'm a nerd, I'm goofy, I embrace these things. So that way, if you see me being like this, hopefully it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable to share your side of it.
Right.
The other things that, I like the word spooky.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think the word paranormal can be off-putting.
True.
And that might seem a little too intense for people, and they might be like, I don't know about the paranormal folks. But if you say spooky, maybe that allows them to kind of come along a little bit more.
Right.
Have fun with it, be playful with
Yes.
it, or feel comfortable in sharing those things. But yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street, just trying to lay the groundwork to make people feel comfortable, so then hopefully they will feel better about sharing their side of it.
Right. All right. Weird, strange, weird. Aaron Sagers. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I'm glad we finally did this, and I appreciate your time.
I am too. I can't wait for our investigations this weekend.
Yes, that's right. Here, we're the Soul Circle Paranormal at Virginia City, and if you're not here this weekend, which you're not because you're watching this, so
Right.
There will be other future events. Check those out.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did a little Jedi move there. I think. Watch this show. Come to Soul Circle.
Yes.
These are the droids you're looking for.
Thanks again for joining Chaplain Jodi on Survivor Angels. For more information, go to chaplainjodi.me. That's chaplainjodi.me. And on Facebook at Survivor Angels-Chaplain Jodi. Sound effects for the show created by Andre Opate and provided by Pixbay. This is Dave Schrader. Until next time, sending you off to activate your angels.